Welcome to my end of year show. And this time every year I normally sit down and think on the best program related articles, YouTube videos, things I've made, books, movies, TV shows and more. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to share all these amazing resources with you. It's the best of the best, and I bet by the time we reach the end of this video you will have learned about some epic resources that you didn't know of before. We're going to start off with the best articles of 2022. Now, this list has been created by you guys. So in case you weren't aware, I send out a newsletter every Sunday. In my newsletter, I share a funny program-related picture every week, a link to the content I've created that week, as well as 4 or 5 links to the best programming-related articles I've found. Now, in a year, I share over 250 different links, and in this section, I will go over the most clicked on articles from this list. This is the best of the best.
Round 1.
The first article is called Where's C# Headed? Now, this was the most clicked on link in the whole of my newsletter in 2022. Now, this is an hour-long video by Mads Christensen from Microsoft. And in this video, he explains where C#'s going and what new features you can expect to see as we go along for this ride.
Round 2.
The next article is called The Case for C# and .NET. This is a great article, and it's written by someone who used to use C# and moved into JavaScript. So now we understand the pros and cons of each language. Will the constant change of JavaScript and its popularity actually be its downfall?
Round 3.
In the third spot, we have Git Concepts I Wish I Knew Years Ago. This does exactly what it says on the tin. If you want to learn some new useful Git goodness, give this article a read.
Round 4.
Next up is an article which was named Designer Patterns Cheat Sheet. This cheat sheet contains diagrams for the 17 most used design patterns in the marketplace today. This is really useful to bookmark whenever you're designing a new system.
Round 5.
Next up is an article called 5 Coding Interview Questions That I Hate. Now, this article reviews 5 common programming interview questions and goes into why the author thinks they're all flawed.
Round 6.
Next is Management Isn't a Promotion. Now, the path of most software developers is junior dev, senior dev. Eventually, you're going to manage a team of people. By reading this article, you'll find out about the author's thoughts on being promoted into management, and is this a good thing or not?
Round 7.
Next, we have an article which is called Tips for Writing Cleaner Code. So if you want some inspiration on how you can level up your coding game, read this article.
Round 8.
Second to last is an article which is called The End of Localhost. As the industry moves towards a more SaaS-based model, is localhost now doomed?
Final round.
Finally, we have an article which is called 20 Productivity Tips from Developers for Developers. So if you're looking to work on a slightly more efficient route, you should be able to find some good advice from this article. In this section, I'm going to share with you my 5 most watched videos on YouTube in 2022. Now, obviously I'm biased, however, there's definitely some epic stuff in this list that I 100% recommend that you check out. Now, after that, I'm going to share some fun channels on travel, gaming and finance that I regularly consume. So, video number 1 is create a custom backend dashboard in Umbraco. In this video, you will learn how to build a dashboard using C# and Umbraco v9, 10 or 11. My second most viewed video in 2022 was a video which was called How to Create a Custom Search in Umbraco. Yes, this is another Umbraco video, and in this video I will explain to you how to set up the search provider that comes out the box with Umbraco and how you can build a basic search component around it. Up next is Cloudflare Pages versus Netlify. In this video, I do a comparison to find out which is the best provider for your JavaScript-powered websites. The next video's title is C# Doomed. Now, this was an interesting video. I wanted to prove that .NET Core would have moved the needle in the .NET development world. Based on data that I found from developer surveys, job boards, and online blogs, I wanted to try and prove that C# has a great future in 2023. See how that video turns out. The next most viewed video is another Umbraco classic. It was a complete banger, and it's titled Learn to Upgrade Your Umbraco Website from V8 to V10. Well, nowadays it's all about V11. The video applies equally to that. In this video, you're going to learn how to take your framework code and come up with a step-by-step plan in order for you to successfully upgrade it to .NET Core and Umbraco 11. So, if you're planning an Umbraco project, I recommend you check out this video. My next video got over 1,000 views in 3 days, and it's called Fred Brooks Died, Now Your Software Project Will Fail. Now, Fred Brooks is the author of The Mythical Man Month, one of the most legendary programming books ever written. Now, sadly, he passed away in 2022, and in this video, I'm going to give you a complete tribute about who Fred was, some of his amazingly insightful ideas, so you can learn more about him. Now, in terms of fun YouTube channels I recommend that you check out, the first one I'm going to recommend is by a lady called Cody Sanchez. Now, Cody does a channel about starting boring businesses. Now, starting a brick and mortar business is always something that I've always really thought of, and this channel has definitely helped me give me some inspiration of what type of businesses I should start. But I also mentioned that Cody is a multi-millionaire who runs about 60 different companies herself. So your next idea to make a money-making business might be found from this channel. Next up is Retro Rick. Now, I got into this channel fairly recently, and I've got to admit, I've pretty much watched every single one of his videos. If you like 90s, nostalgia, vintage gaming, you'll like this channel. Rick basically blogs about his shop and him going through different thrift shops or charity shops in the UK, finding bargains and selling stuff. Now, if I'm honest, I tend to put this on when I'm programming as a background channel. You don't have to pay too much attention. I get to see Mario once in a while. The next channel I recommend is a travel channel by Simon Wilson. Simon is a travel vlogger who takes on interesting quests. In previous years, he's managed to travel the whole of America on no money. Now, this year's challenges have included 7 continents in 7 days, including Antarctica, and watching each game in the World Cup in that country. Next up is Film Booth. Now, this channel helps creators create better quality YouTube videos, and I need that. Premise for growing a great YouTube channel is all about creating great content. Making a great video is all about good storytelling. It's about the thumbnails, it's about the right keywords. Now, the editing and storytelling in the Film Booth videos, they're really great, really funny. Next up is a bit of an oddball, Hunters and Unicorns. This is a very niche channel that will be aimed for developers who work in sales. Now, this channel is a collection of interviews with people within the industry that share insights about how to run demos, how to win clients, and how to run a successful sales company. And finally, we have Financial Education with Jeremy. So in this channel, Jeremy basically releases a 20 to 30 minute video every single day talking about the trades he makes in the stock market. Now, I don't recommend that everyone out there goes and invests in individual stocks. For most people, you just want to invest in an index fund. However, if you have interest in the stock market and you want to learn about how a trader works, some insights about how people think about stocks, this is a fantastic resource that you'll learn a lot from. Next, I want to share 2 resources with you that I created this year and I'm really proud of. First resource that I'd like to share with you is a still in progress resource, and it's my new book about Contentful CMS. It's called Contentful, The Missing Manual. Currently, it's about 160 pages long, and if you want to learn how to build a headless website, including things like design patterns, content modeling, how to set things up in Contentful, this is a book for you. Now, I guarantee that you're going to learn a lot from it. Now, if you're an Umbraco developer, I also created an Umbraco book. And this book is called Umbraco.NET Core Mastery. It's about 300 400 pages, only costs you about $20. And if you're interested in Umbraco CMS, this is a great resource which is going to teach you everything that you need to know. Now, this book has sold amazingly well. Now, I want to say, anyone that has bought a copy of that book, I very much appreciate it. It's people who support me by buying my book, helps me carry on making this free content for everyone else to consume. Next up is books. So this year I've read over about 30 books. Now this has been a combination of Audible and the old-fashioned of reading a paper book. Now out of these books, I found 4 or 5 that really stuck out for me, so I thought I'd share them. First off is Unfair Advantage by Robert Kiyosaki. Now this book is written by the author of the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is really famous. Now I actually prefer Unfair Advantage. Unfair Advantage is basically a book on how to invest money and how to think about money. And it's definitely different compared to some of the books I've come across before. Now, I wish I'd read and understood some of the lessons made in this book a few years ago, especially before COVID. Understanding things like quantum easing and understanding inflation and investing in different asset classes is really key. Now, as developers, we will often get paid a little bit more money compared to most people, which means that at the end of the month, you'll probably have a little bit of money left over that you'll need to invest. And this is the reason why I recommend that all developers have a basic understanding about financial education, because after all, when you're old and grey, it's very likely that your skills are going to become outdated, so being able to rely on a second income through investing is going to be very, very beneficial. Now, next up is a fiction book, and it is called Mistborn, and it's a trilogy and it's written by Brandon Sanderson. Now this is an adventure fantasy book. The story is based around a young slave girl who finds out she can burn these different metals to get different abilities. Now I don't want to ruin the book or the storyline, but basically after a little practice she gains lots of powers. She ends up in an epic fight with this god type being to see if she can save the world. Now, if you enjoy adventures like The Lord of the Rings or The Game of Thrones, then you're probably going to love this book. Next up is another finance book, and it's called Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money and Your Life by Bill Perkins. So this is another finance book with a twist. The premise of this book is that for anyone to live an optimal life, you should die with zero in your bank account, or close to zero as possible. Now, at the end of the life, if you still have things that you've always wanted to do, and you also have money left over in your bank, you've basically failed. Some points that I really like within this book include spending less money as you get older. In your 80s, you're likely going to spend less money than in your 70s, and this is the same from your 60s, your 50s, and so on. When it comes to actually think about planning your retirement, you want to make sure that you have as much fun as possible. Now, personally, I'm not sure I completely agree with the principle. However, it's always good to read things with different ideas and different positions because it will help you get inspired more. Last up is TV and movies. Hey, this is just for fun, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because most of these you'll probably come across. So for me, best TV series of the year has definitely been House of Dragons, Game of Thrones. I mean, it is an incredible show. It kept me gripped week after week. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Now, next up, I recommend The Sandman, which is on Netflix. I really love the audible book when I listen to it, and this is a very good rendition of it. Next up, I recommend checking out Tulsa King. Tulsa King is a series including Sylvester Stallone. In it, he's an old mafioso-style boss. He basically spends 25 years in prison, comes out, gets shunned, and this is the story of him starting with nothing, working his way up, getting some hustles on, making some money, selling some drugs, selling some legal weed. Finally, I recommend checking out a show that's called Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is a story about a boy whose mother dies from a drug overdose. He then goes to live with his uncles and his aunts, and they're basically bank robbers. If you want something slightly different, which isn't just Hollywood and isn't on the Netflix and your Disney Pluses, then this is a good show to check out. My best film of 2022 award is a split decision between Top Gun Maverick and Avatar 2. I watched Avatar 2 in the cinema yesterday. It is over 3 hours long. However, the 3D effects are amazing. So be prepared that your bum will hurt at the end of it. However, it's worth it. There she blows. That is over 30 resources for you to enjoy, and if you can't find something in there, then I think you're a lost cause. There's not much I can do for you. Well, this is the last video that I'm recording in 2022. I want to first say thanks for everyone who's been watching my videos through the year. You are all complete coding legends. I hope you have a great time. Now, if you haven't subscribed, this is the point. Don't forget to smash on the subscribe button. If you have enjoyed these resources, if you would consider clicking on the like button, I very much appreciate it. It really helps this channel and it helps me show my videos to more people. Otherwise, I hope you had an epic 2022. Hope you have a brilliant 2023. And until the next video, happy coding.